Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Dr. Munder. We'll talk about public key cryptography today, inshallah. We have learned so far something about the block cipher principle, and we learned two block cipher algorithm, DES and AES, and we also compare different mode of operation, and we apply these operation on DES and AES previously. We talk about asymmetric encryption, and we say that asymmetric encryption is called public key encryption. It's used for encryption and decryption, and the encryption will be done using a separate key. So you have a public key and you have a private key, and you have this message. You put the message into the algorithm, and this message, therefore, encryption, and you provide it with what? With the key is called the private key, and you will get what? You will get a cipher message. On the other end, if someone receives the message, you will take the cipher key and put it into the decryption algorithm, which is the used for decryption, and it will provide it with the public key, which is a different key from the one, in order to get the message. You can see that one of the key is used for encryption and the other key is used what? Is used for decryption. You cannot use the same key for encryption and decryption. Now, symmetric encryption can be used for confidentiality, authentication, or both of them at the same time. One of the most common public key encryption in the area is called RSA. RSA is a very good algorithm, very complicated, difficult to attack by a crypto analysis, because it is what? It is based on the prime factors, as we will see later. Now, as we know that the public key encryption is basically more secure than the symmetric encryption, because against what? Against the attack called the crypto analysis. And why is that? Because we have two keys, and these keys are one of them is for encryption and the other one is for decryption. Comparing to the symmetric is using one secret key, and the complication or the strong algorithm will use long key, or it use a very complicated algorithm in order to do the encryption, and that will affect the time and the performance of the encryption. However, it is not more secure against crypto analysis like a public key. The public key encryption is a general purpose technique, okay? So you do the encryption with one key and the decryption with the other key. If the attacker already got one of the key, he will not be able to see the text, okay, because one of the key is secret with the person, and if he got the public key, I will not be able to encrypt or decrypt something to infer the other key. So it's not easy to get one of the key from the other. Now, we have to do some to tell each other the keys. So we have something called key distribution. I will talk about this later on at the end of the chapter, inshallah. Now we have to understand some of the concept. We have asymmetric key is using two key. One is called the public key, and the other one is called the private key. And these are used to perform encryption and decryption operation. It also used to do the signature, and also to use the verify the signature itself. And when we say signature is actually a simulation to the manual signature, and we'll explain it in more detail later on. Now, another thing is that we need to know is that what? Public key certificate. The public key, if you have a document, okay, and this document is a digital document, you have to sign it in a digital way. So this is the signature here. This is what? This is the signature. Now, if you send the document to someone and you sign it using your key, okay, public key signature, then that person need to verify that you are the person who signed the certify, and make sure your signature is correct. And for that reason, we have something called CA, or the Certification Authority. The Certification Authority hold the public key for the people, so you can go and take the public key for anyone that sent you the document, and try to verify the signature from that thing. It needs some subscription, but that should be the way that we verify the signature. Now, the public key crypto algorithm, you have two key, and these key, one called the private and the other one is called public, as we know. These two key, okay, they are somehow computationally invisible to infer one of the key from the other. So if you know the private key, you will not be able to infer the public key. And the same thing, that if you know the public key, it's computationally invisible to get the private key. And we will learn something about public key infrastructure, or the PKI. The PKI is more like a guidelines or policies, or platform, software, workstation. Okay, these are used to administrate or manage or control certificate and public key encryptions, and these are responsible of distributing the key. So they have something called revoke the public key certificate, or accept the public key certificate. There's two problems here that we need to face, is the key distribution, and the second one is the digital signature. Now, the key distribution in the symmetric encryption is a little bit difficult, because we have one key, secret key, and we need to share this secret key. So the two people that we want to encrypt using the same key, they have to share it somehow in different way. So this is kind of a problem that we need to solve. And the second one is about the digital signature. Now, it is not used only in the military to verify that who sent the message. It is also needed in business. It's needed for private reasons. It's needed now a lot, because everyone now is working digitally, and everything is digitalized, and all the document is digitalized. So we need to find a way to resolve the manual signature, and transform it into a digital signature, and these two problems will be solved, inshallah. So the key distribution and the digital signature, these two problems solved by what? Solved by the public key encryption. If we're still depending on the symmetric key encryption, then we will have these two problems. But in order to solve this problem, we have to use the public key cryptography in order to do the digital signature, in order to do the key distribution. If we depend, as I said, in symmetric, then we have one key. But asymmetric algorithm, they have two key. One is used for encryption, and the other one is used for decryption. And it is computationally invisible to determine one of the key if you know the other key. And it is a little bit difficult, because the computation is more like complex, and it cannot be reversible. Now, in addition to that, we have some algorithm that we mentioned that called RSA. The RSA, okay, use the same principle in public key encryption. So they have two related keys can be used in the encryption and the decryption as well. This diagram summarizes the process. So it is basically very simple. If someone want to send Alice want to send a message, okay, or Bob want to send a message to Alice somehow, then that's what happened. Okay, so this is Bob. This is Bob want to send a message to Alice. Alice in the other side. What does this is the message? He put it into the encryption algorithm. This is the encryption algorithm. Now what happens is that he go to what? He go and get uh, Bob public key ring. So he take Alice public key from the key authority, Alice public key, and encrypt the message using Alice public key. Now he will get the key from the key distributor which hold all the key for the subscriber. He does not need Joy, he does not need Mike, he does not need, he need Alice public key. So I encrypt the message using Alice public key, which is basically publicly available, and then this will be transformed. The algorithm could be RSA algorithm. Now the message is encrypted and will be named as Y, and it will be transferred to the Alice, to Alice. Alice now will receive the message. Alice already has his private key. Now he can use the same algorithm to decrypt the message using his private key. Private key is a secret one. Alice does not share it with anyone. So when he tries to decrypt it, the message, he will get the original message X. This is how the encryption happened. Okay. He could also, if this is Bob, okay, he could also Bob do another scenario, take the message and encrypt it using his private key, and that could be another solution. Then send the encryption message to Alice. Now Alice does not have Bob private key. His turn now to go to the key directory. I'll talk about this later on, and fetch Bob public key. He'll take Bob public key from there and use it to decrypt the message, and he will get the message as well. So one of the key is used for encryption, and one of the key is used for decryption. So as you know that we have 6 things. We have the plain text, we have the encryption algorithm, and we have the public key, we have the ciphertext, and then we have the private key, and then we have what? We have the message itself. So this is the component of the public key encryption. It's similar to symmetric key encryption, but we add only 2 key, not 1 key. We use here 2 key, not just 1 key. These are the components: plain text, encryption algorithm, public key and the private key, ciphertext, and then we have the decryption algorithm. The decryption algorithm should accept the encrypted text from the encryption algorithm. Now this is the steps already explained. First of all, you need to have to generate what? You need to generate 2 keys. One is public and the other one, you need to generate 2 pairs of keys. One is private, you keep it with you, okay, this is secret, and the other one is public, you share it in the directory, and the other one is public, you share it with the directory. And these 2 keys can be used to decrypt or encrypt the message. So the key is could be saved in the registered in the public register in the public directory, registered in the public directory. Now, okay, this one is secret. The private key is keep it secret. Okay. So what happened that same scenario, Bob want to send the Alice a message. He can encrypt the message using his public key and send it to Alice. Sorry, his private key, and Alice will decrypt it using Bob public key. Or Bob could take Alice public key, encrypt the message and send it to Alice, and in turn Alice will use his private key to decrypt the message. It's a very simple scenario that we can use it. Now as long as a user private key remain protected, okay, and secret, all the information will be secure. So you have to keep the private key somewhere secure and don't share it with anyone. If it's get compromised, then you can just what? You can just change it, okay, and generate a new key, and that's a very simple and easy way. Now this is the difference between the symmetric and asymmetric, which is the conventional encryption and the public key encryption. As you can see that let's compare between them. In the conventional, we use the same algorithm and the same key, okay, for encryption and decryption. But in the public key encryption, one algorithm is used for encryption and decryption, same algorithm, but we use what? We use 2 key, one for encryption and one for decryption. So here you have 2 key but here you have one key only, and of course they're using the same encryption. Now this one, you have Alice and Bob has to know what? Has to know this secret key. They both need to share the key. But here, Alice and Bob does not need to share anything. They just share what? They do not need to share anything because the public key is available in the public. Only the public key is shared by Bob, but the private key will be kept secret with Alice. All right, so the message is secure. Now, for security in the conventional encryption or symmetric encryption, we have to keep the key secret. Okay, and also the message should be what, encrypted without any additional information. Also, knowledge of the algorithm plus sample ciphertext must be insufficient to determine the key. So if you have knowledge of the algorithm or you have some text, it should be okay, because you cannot infer the key from that. But this is a risk, okay? But in the public key, no, we have one secret key and the other one is public. It must be impossible, okay, or empirical to decipher the message if no other information is available, which is the same as here. Okay, knowledge of the algorithm plus one of the key plus sample of the set must be insufficient to determine what the other key. Okay, here it could be possible in the conventional, but here it must be, and it's also it's not sufficient to do that. As you can see that the public key encryption is much secure and easy to use. This diagram shows that if you have an attacker or cryptanalysis attack in the middle and he used the public key to encrypt it and he got the public key, he will not be able to see the message because he does not know the private key, because he needs two keys, okay, because we have pair of keys, public key and private key. So you need to know the two keys in order to decrypt the message, which is a little bit more difficult than knowing one key. This is a very simple and easy way to defend ourselves against crypto analysis attack. Now, if you wanna implement it as an equation, you can say that M is represent the message that you wanna send, and X is the letter of the alphabet. So if you wanna send the message from Bob to Alice, okay, Bob has to have what, generate two keys first, as we said. One is public and one is private. This is a private, okay, and this is public. So we call this one PR, private, and this one we call it PU, which is means public, something like that. It's just a symbol to name them. These two keys are related and they're used for encryption and decryption. Now the public key will be shared and just distributed by the key registration somewhere for subscription. So everyone can need that key. He will can get it from this distribution or from this place. And then if someone wants to send you the message, he can encrypt it using the public key, and the only decryption can be happen using what? Using the private key, and the opposite is the same. So the E for encryption and the D for decryption. When you do the encryption, you use the public key and you encrypt the message. And when you do the decryption, you use the private key. So you can see that one key is used for encryption and the other key is used for what? Used for decryption. And this one is summarize the process again. So if A want to send the message, he can encrypt, he will get the public key and the private key for him. These are the public key. He need to know the private key, so he encrypt the message using what? Using his private key. This is the private key, encrypted the message. He will send it to Alice, and now Alice knows the public key for what? For Bob know the public key for Alice, so he can use it to decrypt the message or the cipher message. Now the crypto analysis need to know both keys, which is somehow a little bit difficult to get two things secrets. We can use crypto public key encryption for many things. We can use it for encryption and decryption. We can use it for the digital signature to verify the signer of the message or the sender of the message. We can use it for key exchange. If you have a secret key and I want to share this secret key with you, so what I do is I encrypt this secret key using my private key. I do encryption that and I send it to you from A to B, okay? And what B did is do the decryption for using the public key for the secret that or the message you sent, and he will get the key secret, and then he can use it. This is a way that you can exchange the key between yourself. This is a comparison between some of the public key encryption. Some of them used for decryption and encryption, other used for digital signature, other used for exchange. You can see the RSA is used for everything, okay, for key exchange, for digital signature, for encryption and decryption. But when you talk about the second one here, okay, it is used also for all. So these two algorithms is used for all the operation, encryption and decryption, digital signature, key exchange. But you can see that Diffie-Hellman is used only for key exchange, while DSS is actually used for what? Used only for digital signature. This is just a general decryption introduction about the public key encryption. In the next video, inshallah, I will explain the RSA calculation.